Perfect. Okay, you guys can. Okay. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at a time of challenge and controversy, said the great Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. King judged people by their character and not their skin color. He wanted equal rights for everyone, and I can relate to him in this way. Still to this day, we see racism everywhere. If everyone was treated equally, the world would be a much better place. Martin Luther King will always be remembered by his achievements, his influence on the civil rights movement, and the effect his death had on our nation. Martin Luther King Jr. grew up in the civil rights movement and experienced firsthand a segregated lifestyle. As an African American, he struggled to have a successful life. However, he remained firm on what he believed. Martin Luther King attended a segregated public school in Georgia. After graduating high school at 15 years old, he went on to Morehouse College, a distinguished Negro institution where both his father and grandfather graduated. There, he received a Bachelor in Art in 1948. Even though he was an African American, he desired to finish school and make a good future for himself. Despite his skin color at this time, he succeeded. Martin Luther King Jr. also led the civil rights movement in the United States, advocating nonviolent protest and segregation and racial discrimination. Dr. King represented his dream just as any other person would. He knew what he wanted for his family and wasn't going to stop until he achieved it. He was also a strong worker for civil rights members of his race. Dr. King, by this time, was a member of the executive committee of the National Association for the Advancement for Colored People. This was the leading organization of its kind in the nation. He represented truth, courage, determination, freedom, and equality. Now that I've talked about his achievements, I'll go on to explain how greatly he influenced our country during the civil rights movement. Dr. King said, "I have a dream that my 4 children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." Martin Luther King Jr. experienced many different hardships while fighting for what he believed in. During the days of the boycotts, King was arrested, his home was bombed, he was abused, but at the same time he emerged as a Negro leader for the first rank. He never let any of the obstacles stop his fight for civil rights. Over the years, Dr. King led a massive protest in Birmingham that caught the attention of the entire world, providing what he called a coalition of conscience and inspiring his letter from Birmingham jail, which was a manifesto of the Negro Revolution. Also, he planned the drives in Alabama for the registration of Negroes as voters. He did everything in his power to be heard across the country. Martin Luther King Jr. was a huge symbolic leader for not only African Americans, but also all people everywhere. Later in life, he received many awards and honors. He directed the peaceful march on Washington, D.C. of 250,000 people, to whom he delivered his famous speech, "I Have a Dream." He conferred with President John F. Kennedy and campaigned for President Lyndon B. Johnson. Although Martin Luther King lived his life to make a change for the people, he became one of the greatest tragedies our nation has ever seen. After he delivered his "I Have a Dream" speech, he was the youngest man to win the Nobel Peace Prize. Just as everything in his life started to look up, things took a turn for the worse. On the night of April 4th, 1968, Martin Luther King was standing on the balcony of his motel room in Tennessee when he was brutally assassinated. Although Dr. King stood for equality and freedom for all, not everyone agreed with his fight for civil rights. He will always be remembered as a strong, smart man who fought for equality for all. We commemorate as well as the timeless values he taught us through examples, the value of courage, truth, justice, compassion, dignity, humility, and service that so radiantly defined Dr. King's character and empowered his leadership. America, as a nation, benefited from his achievements then and to this day. No other day of the year brings so many people from different cultural backgrounds together in such a vibrant spirit of brother and sisterhood. Whether you're African American, Hispanic, Native American, whether you're a Caucasian or Asian American, you are part of the great dream Martin Luther King had for America. In conclusion, Martin Luther King has been one of the most influential leaders in civil rights that our country has ever seen. No matter what he went through, he never gave up. Dr. King is a tremendous role model to people across the world. He had a dream and he stopped at nothing to achieve it. Conclusively, no matter what challenges or controversy Martin Luther King Jr. faced, he always prospered. So no matter where you stand in life or what your dreams may be, stop at nothing to make them come true.